Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PreMatch show. Liverpool taking on Atalanta. The starting 11 is out. It's got a lot of twists to it. I think, like most of them, like these, some of them we definitely did not expect. I'm your host, Timuchin, as always. Maka is with us. Serzi is with us. We might have a couple of other contributors along the way hopping in. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. And let's start with you, Maka. What do you make of the starting 11? Acosta sighting, no Mo, and a Gakpo sighting.
Um, I mean, I don't know if I'm that upset about Simicast being there because he did a job. He did a good job, and I think he's not going to let us down. I'm just still trying to get my head around what the live score confirmed lineup is for like 30 minutes, where Endo was in centre of defence and Thiago was in central midfield. So whatever drugs they were on, I think they should share them with the rest of us. But
I like when sometimes they get the lineup right, but they just put everybody all over the place, like they've never seen him ever play before.
now, right now they have Simicas as right back and Gomez as left back and Virgil as the right central defender. So they're on fire today. I'm more happy. I'm more happy with what's on the bench because Jota's there.
Yes.
So that to me is the I hope he gets some minutes because he's going to be hugely important for the rest of the season if he's fit.
Sergi, I mean, it looks like we played. I mean, when you look at the rotation, there's almost, in my mind, this is probably our best starting 11 midfield. I know we'll argue putting Szoboszlai over Jones or whatever, but either way, it feels like we said we'll keep the midfield, control the midfield, and good things will happen along the way anyway. While I kind of like that, I guess my only concern is running Endo and Mac into the ground. We were almost expecting to be like a 60-30 or one half one plays, one half other. What do you make of the starting 11?
Yeah, like I said, just got to kind of given up what Klopp is going for. I mean, now Konate is playing in a Europa game when maybe we could have used him in the last game. Yeah, it's a good lineup. Though. I mean, we take each game as it comes, I guess. And this team on paper should see this game out comfortably. The biggest bonus is obviously having Jota, Bahatic, and Trent back on the bench. So hopefully they'll get some minutes. And maybe if McAllister or Endo, one of them to go out, like in the second half of the game, bring Trent on in midfield. And it's a good team.
Don't start. Don't start that shit. It's almost game time. Let's not start with that. Mega, how much of these guys do you expect to see, and under what scenarios? Like when it comes to Jota, Trent, and Basetic, especially, because in some ways I feel like how much we see them today, especially in the case of Trent and Jota, will determine how much how much we'll see them this weekend.
I don't think we'll see Bajetic at all. I think that's more of a kind of here you've been out for a very very long time. Welcome back to the fold. Now just sit down and enjoy. I think we'll see Jota possibly more than Trent because we're going to need to score at home because Atalanta have a very good style of play. They're very aggressive. They're very forward pressing apparently. So I don't expect it to be an easy game. But I think for Jota, if we're going to need him, and we are, because I looked it up on the 100%. Stats, our shots on target have gone down week to week as a trend line since January. So we need somebody who's going to put that ball in the back of the net more consistently. So I think we'll see Jota before we'll see Trent, but we won't see Bajetic whatsoever. I'd be surprised if that happens. I think that's just get a taste for it again, son. Better times are ahead.
I agree. I'm actually shocked. I did not think we would even see him on the bench for quite some time, based on being like the one that's like the furthest along out of the deal. Brian says he hopes to see Trent and Jota get about 50 minutes. How about you, Serzi? Like, what do you think? Or do we even like risk them? I guess that's a better question, right? Like, do we just bring somebody in to get their 20 minutes or whatever, as opposed to like even take the chance of bringing them early?
No, we have to bring them on. Otherwise, it's not putting them on the bench. So they've got to get some minutes. We need them. We need them match sharp What, 7 games left now, or whatever it is. We have to get the match up, and if they can't do it, then they can't do it. We just have to count our losses. But you can't put them on the bench and not give them some minutes, especially Trent and Jota. We have to, even if it's like 15, 20 minutes. Hopefully, we're comfortably winning. But yeah, no, but we have to get the match sharp, especially games like Palace where they, may go for a low block, and all the other teams are going to low block us. Jota's probably the only one who can break that, and Trent's the only one who can break that. So no, we need them like match sharp as soon as possible.
So let me ask you this then, Mecca. You mentioned about like Atalanta's play style and stuff like that. Do you think they go with that? I mean, they are a normally high pressing team and stuff. Do you think they do that, or they kind of like park the bus and see what they can take back to Italy?
No, I don't think they know any other way of playing. I think Gasperini is the coach, isn't it? I think he's like Bielsa. It's just this is the way we're doing it, and if we fail doing it, we're gonna fail doing it my way. And not like a kind of Benitez, Mourinho, let's adapt the tactics to the team kind of idea. I think it's just if Liverpool can't handle us, great. If they can't, then next year we'll just get better at it. So I actually expect us, if we start as slow as we have been sometimes, to maybe concede fairly early. But I think we'll be better at this type of game than they are, and have more resources, especially as we talked about, if we can get Joe on the field at some point near the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, looking at the lineup, I'm looking at the bench over there. You can bring Mo, Diaz, Jota, a lot of people you can bring in Robertson, if we need to kind of like get more goals. But I guess that's more my question. Do you use, let's say the game is under control, do you just use it? I mean, you would think Endo and Mecca, you would try to get him some time off and get Clark and Gravenberch and stuff out there. But especially for the front lines, do you try to bring Jota and, like get Mo and stuff, try to get him some confidence, or save him as much as you can?
I don't know about bringing Salah on. Maybe last 5 minutes if we haven't used all our subs. But I'd rather bring Jota on last 15, 20 minutes, especially I'd just bring him on regardless. Even if it's a tight game and it's only 1-0, I still bring him on. He needs that sharpness. I don't think Salah needs sharpness. He just needs to stop overthinking and just whatever. I don't know what hopefully Ramadan's over. He's got oxygen back in his brain now, and he can actually score goals. But no, that forward, I like Elliot. He's not obviously as pacey as Salah, but he brings something else to the game, and he's not as kind of greedy as Salah. Like he'll look for the passes where Salah doesn't. Gakpo, I think it'll be a telling game for Gakpo. I think he needs to now, just step up now and forget all this confidence crap and whatever, and just take this game with a scruff of his neck. And now that Jota's back, there's like 2 people vying for his spot along with Diaz. So
can I just point out though that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that during Ramadan you can't even drink water during the fasting hours, correct?
Yes. Correct.
So whilst he was undergoing Ramadan, we played him into the ground. Now that's past Eid. Yeah, no, you're okay now, son. You can have a rest on the bench. We don't need all your energy today.
I just didn't have a bite.
But Konate's back.
So out of these people that are getting an opportunity, like the Jones, Gakpo, and probably like Elliot, like you would say, which one are you? I mean, I guess you can throw Costas in that mix too there, Mecca, but who are you looking at to see how they take this opportunity of getting a start?
From the bench?
No, like getting a start, like Gakpo. I mean, these are guys that don't normally get the starts.
I think it has to be Gakpo, doesn't it? Because like we have seen some really, really good moments from him last season. But this season the quality is there, but he just seems lazy. And we've talked about whether it's a mental thing for him, whether he's unsettled in some way, or whether he's just low in confidence. So I would love him to have the game of his life today, because there is a really good player in there when it gets going. It just hasn't for the last few weeks, and it's a shame for him because when he is on form, he really does do the things that we miss from Bobby a lot. Not quite Bobby like, because I don't think they couldn't even genetically clone a Bobby Firmino to be like Bobby Firmino.
Yeah.
But he gives us all that kind of playing off the front line and playing in those spaces that teams hate to have to defend. And if we could get that back, today would be a great day to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When he first came in, yeah, like Bobby is the unicorn. You cannot duplicate it. But in some ways, you were getting a lot of what he brought. Not the full package, maybe, but at the same time, you were gaining some speed and size when you played Gakpo instead. So that was like the biggest plus. I mean, do you agree, Sergi? If somebody needs a big game today, of all the people, as we struggle to finish, or like, like especially after the last game, I feel like normally we're still scoring goals, but in terms of like the overall mood, who do you think needs a good game out of this the most?
For me, it'll be Jones, because I think Endo and McAllister are shoo-ins. So that third spot now is between Jones, Szoboszlai, Elliot Batic now. So that third spot is really up for grabs, and I think Jones. There's always going to be that debate between Jones and Szoboszlai. We've got a 70 million midfielder. You don't keep him on the bench, but it's up to Jones to keep him out. But McAllister and Endo, they're their first choice. You can't. I think they've cemented their place. And if Trent does go back into right back, that third spot's up for grabs really. So it's up to Jones to keep that now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the first game he came back in, we were like, oh man, we missed this. Obviously, the United game, he just was not all there and stuff. Costas is a name that we were throwing around a lot, Mecca. We were like, is he still alive? Where, Gomez was preferred over him, even though he's a right back, to play as left back and stuff like that. I guess, one, what do you think the reason was? And two, what does that mean that he is getting his opportunity now?
Well, I mean, if you look at all those YouTube reels and TikTok clips of him singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" when he was on the bench, maybe they thought he was just a fan who somehow won a contest or something like that. And so maybe he stopped doing that, and then they've remembered, oh, he actually plays for us. I don't know. I mean, like we don't know how like any injury that like the last injury had may affect him still, and it could just be that he's gotten like twinges that are not enough to take him out of a team, but maybe not enough to risk him ahead of a healthier player who wasn't doing a bad job anyway. Yeah. But Tsimikas is not a starter at a club at Liverpool, though, like or of that magnitude. Like Tsimikas is the starting West Ham left back. Like he's not. He doesn't have enough to be. He's not Andy Robertson, and Andy Robertson at this age is still a better left back than Tsimikas would be. So I think he's probably always going to suffer from that if he's at a top club, at a top league, where he's always going to be the backup, and then sometimes the backup to the backup. And he just seems happy with that. Sometimes he looks like a dopey kid who got the
right. Like he's okay with it. He's got that.
You want the American Scouts a giveaway?
He has like a little bit of like a Divock thing going. I like this is cool. This is cool. Yeah. I'll just sing. I'll just sit here and sing, kind of a deal. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point there, Sergi. Like, does it say more about Costas and his form, maybe? Or does it say more about Gomez and what he's done, that Gomez got starts over him at left back?
I think it's more Gomez. Gomez has gone up levels and he's shown like Mr. Versatility, and he can play anywhere and pretty much be dependable, giving 7 or 8 out of 10 every game. I don't know why Tsimikas is there. I thought he played really well before he got injured. But yeah, I think Tsimikas, like Mako was saying, he's like got that Divock mentality, and he just seems happy to be at Liverpool. I mean, his spot isn't under threat in the Greek national team, so he's just buying along and he's just happy and collecting medals.
Could I just say though, like I think that's a net. Like, I think we talked about this on the last thing, the last podcast. It was like the idea of the role player becoming like more and more of a thing, as I think Gally might have said it. Like players who just know what their position is, that they know they're going to get paid very well for it, and they know they're going to be part of some good teams, and they're not going to, their ego and their agent isn't going to get away saying, we need to be playing 88 out of 90 minutes every single week in this contract. Like he knows he's onto a good thing. He gets to play professional football every day of his life until it ends. He's at a great club, and he's something of a cult personality. Like we love to see him do well. Like the fans like him. And if you don't have any ambitions to be the next Messi, why wouldn't you be happy with that?
I guess, yeah. I mean, but do you kind of, while I get that, do you guys like that in a player who is, I mean, you do, especially at his age. I think as you get older, I can kind of see that more, right? Like you can be the older player saying like, yeah, I don't want to play 90 minutes every day anyway. And then, happy with a certain role, like, let's say how Milner was, okay? Like what Henderson did not want as a role, for example. Do you kind of respect the guy who says, no, I'd rather be starting and be somewhere else than, be in the background singing?
Can I throw a name out there? I'll throw a name out there of that player. Sorry, Susie, but Joey Barton was that player. I don't want Joey Barton near the city my club is in. Like a Simicast is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess, yeah, the attitude makes a difference. But in terms of ambition, Sergi, like, does that bug? It bugs me a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Does it bug you?
No, I mean, it's like Maka saying, I mean, where's it going to go? West Ham and not win anything? Or stay with Liverpool, being a Liverpool fan, driving a Lamborghini around Liverpool, earning, 100,000 a week and collecting medals and playing when he plays his international spot isn't under threat. He's onto a good thing. I'd switch places with him. I get more sleep.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I get more sleep. But yeah, like he's loved at Liverpool. It's yeah. I mean, he's in a good life. He's earning a good life there.
Brian says there's many things I don't want Joey Barton else. And yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, like I say, I get it. And many of us would probably die to be in that role. But like I say, part of me says these guys, as they go up the ranks, you don't become a left back at Liverpool, left back at your national team, Mecca, with that approach. It's the ambition that gets you there. So I always wonder. But along the same lines, you can have a guy on the bench partying. You can have a guy on the bench along with the team. If you're going to have a guy like that, you want a guy that's embracing that role of being a sub as opposed to constantly going for the starting job and maybe pouting a little bit.
Well, I mean, like, I'll give you two Liverpool examples. There's number one, the famous, like, David Fairclough, like, scorer of that fantastic goal against Saint Etienne, who, when you read the interviews and see him on TV afterwards, was always like, I wish I'd have played more. But he's a legend. He's like forever etched in the brains of every Liverpool fan for what he did during those seasons. And he might have the tag of super sub, but the only thing that's hurt is his ego. Like he's got European Cup medals and league medals when it was actually hard to win a European Cup and hard to win the league. And then on the other end of that spectrum, Paul Konchesky, who wasn't getting the treatment he thought he deserved. So his mother had a complaint. I mean, like, we did. I don't know much about American sports, but I know, like, just from Moneyball, from that movie, like that David Justice or whatever his name was, that baseball player, like, who kind of thought he was coming in for one role and then was kind of told he was getting another role and then made his peace with it and was able to get like a second career or something like that. So like a new lease of life. I think the ambition got Simicast to where he is, and now he's there. He's quite happy to play his part. He doesn't need to make an ass of himself trying to be any more than he is. And I'm sure, like, he's probably going to be, I'd say he's going to be one of the ones that becomes a good coach afterwards, because he seems to get what it's all about.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. No, like I say, and, when he came in at some point, he was, he did well when he got, a few games back to back, had a run of games. But at that time, people were like really like praising, like he was like comparing him to Robertson, putting him over Robertson, which I thought was just like kind of like a way of an overstatement. But this way, everybody gets their rest in some ways, a good rotation. I do worry about the midfield, but as we get ready for the game, Sergi, let's start with you. What kind of a game are you expecting it to unfold, and what is your prediction?
It's like Mac was saying. I think they're going to come toe to toe because they don't know any other way to play. But I think I'll go for a Timothy special here. I think we'll go behind maybe in the first 5-10 minutes, and then we'll just kind of cruise after that.
I don't like the sound of that. The cruising part I like, but I don't like the. I just went through a torture session watching Fenerbahce earlier, so I don't want to go through that again. They did come back, and at least they make it a game in the second leg, so there's always that. But how about you, Mecca? What do you expect?
I'm almost the same. I think if we come out of the blocks the way we have been doing, which is like a slow train pulling out of the station, they're going to get an early one. But I also think Núñez is going to fall over several times, like that horse on a ball TikTok Vine thing. But then he's going to score a cracker from outside the box. He's just going to get the ball torn and wallop it into the top corner, and then we win 4-1 in total. And then it'll be a comfortable 4-1 by the end because we can bring on players that they can't, essentially.
Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest plus, right? I mean, if they're kind of like hanging in there and then they look to the sideline and see like Mo and them coming in, Jota coming in and stuff like that. Yeah, or Trent, like I say, it does sound like being on the bench, like you were saying earlier, Sergi, is a sign that, we will see them and they will get some minutes one way or the other. Brian is going with the Timuchin special as well. To throw a curveball in here, I'm going with the 2-0. I'm actually expecting to be a bit more cagey and for them to not really open up themselves that much. If they do, then yeah, a 4-1 or something like that is more likely. But it would be nice to kind of almost like wrap up this first round and, take it easier in the second round and rotate even more. Mecca, you have the post-match tonight on tonight's podcast instead of immediately after the game. What you
I just want to say something. LiveScore put all the players back into their correct positions, so all is right in the world.
They probably saw him warming up. They're like, "Hey, wait!"
That's all the moment. But yeah, tonight's going to be fantastic because we're either going to talk about Núñez falling over the ball and then scoring a cracker, or we're going to be telling everybody that we love Núñez, but it's time to take him out back and turn him into glue.
God, there's so much anti-Núñez.
It's one or the other. There's no middle ground in the Tour Today podcast.
Yeah, it feels like that, right? It feels like that. And even like somebody I was making fun of Kazi yesterday, even somebody like that who was almost on the other side and joining the dark side of being like, oh yeah, maybe we got something over here. It takes a couple of games to be like, nope, I was right in the beginning, kind of an ordeal. So, yeah, it should be interesting. And the fantasy nerds are on right after you guys tonight as well. So tune in for that. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern for Mecca to be hosting Brian and Trevor tonight. And then the fantasy nerds, Gally and Mateusz right afterwards. Thank you for everything for joining us. Enjoy the game. Up the Reds. Let's finish this round in the first match, hopefully. Take care.
Thank you.